Dead by Daylight's most anticipated collaboration of all time has finally arrived, being Springtrap from Five Nights at Freddy's. FNaF being as lore heavy and Easter egg heavy as it is, it's no surprise that this collab is filled with tons of Easter eggs from the FNaF games, as well as some really interesting lore drops. To begin, let's go over how Springtrap works. Springtrap wields both an axe and a knife, with the axe being throwable at players to damage them and slow them down. Springtrap is fully voiced by PJ Haywood, the same voice actor as all other Springtrap roles other than the movie, of course, being played by Matthew Lillard. However, if you prefer Matthew, then don't stress, because Springtrap comes with an array of different skins to choose from, with the movie version being one of them, of course. Starting off, we have, of course, the movie Spring Bonnie skin that I just mentioned, featuring Matthew Lillard, as this is the movie version of Springtrap. This is where our first Easter egg comes in, as one of Springtrap's animations for spawning in features almost the exact same movement that Matthew Lillard performed in the Five Nights at Freddy's movie intro. While we are yet to hear Matthew's voice lines, I'm sure they'll be great, as Matthew is fully voicing this incarnation of Springtrap. Springtrap's other skins are Glitchtrap from FNaF Help Wanted 1 and 2, Toxic Springtrap from FNaF AR the mobile game, and Clown Springtrap from FNaF AR again. Pretty strange choices, but whatever. I would have preferred Scrapchat, but I think it's fine that we got these. Springtrap looks incredible in game, this being the first time he's had a proper body modeled fully underneath the suit. Here's a better look at it, and yeah, not only is it significantly more realistic than what we're used to seeing from Scott, but it's also pretty damn terrifying. Bro is literally missing his nuts. Springtrap brings an entire map with him, being a seemingly random FNaF location that's inspired by the games and the movie, being a sort of combination of the both. Another Easter egg we have is this sign on the map. This is the exact same sign that we saw on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie building. The location, of course, features Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, but unfortunately no Foxy. However, as an Easter egg, you can find Foxy plushies across the map. The models look pretty good and actually have a small performance they can do when restoring one of the generators. Here's a look. As another Easter egg, when they're not animated, the animatronics are in the same position as their Celebrate poster, which I think is pretty cool. Springtrap has various voice lines, as I stated earlier, so let's listen to some of these and see what they're referencing, as there's a ton of Easter eggs here.
You will fear me.
You will fear me.
The darkest pit of hell is open for business.
Although for one of you, the darkest pit of hell has opened to swallow you whole. So don't keep the devil waiting, old friend.
I promise a fun time.
This one here is indeed a reference to the Fun Time animatronics that William Afton was responsible for creating.
I always come back.
I always come back is, of course, Springtrap's main catchphrase that he says throughout various games. I'm going to leave the voice line references here, but if you want to watch them, I'll leave a link down below. There's a lot of these, and a lot of them are just repeats of what he says in FNaF AR, so it's not that interesting, but the interesting references are the ones I've covered here. Springtrap also comes with a little description detailing how he ended up here. This seems to carry on from before he was discovered by the team behind Fazbear Frights, and it's a pretty interesting read. Let's read it. Deep within the abandoned Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, William Afton ran from the ghosts of his victims. He frantically put on his beloved Spring Bonnie costume, the disguise he wore while committing his heinous crimes, to hide from the pursuing spirits. But fate had different plans for Afton. Something activated the spring locks within the Spring Bonnie costume. Metal clamped against metal, piercing the murderer and trapping him in his costume. As he screamed, the checkerboard floor rose up to meet him, and everything went black. Thus was Springtrap born from the death of a murderer. He awoke to a familiar sound, his body a pillar of agony. The ghosts that had tormented him were gone. The walls surrounding him were decomposing, and the floor beneath him was falling away in moldy patches. How much time had transpired since the springlocks tore through his body and fixed him within his costume? The urge to kill him lingered within him still, the thirst long left unquenched. The sound filled his ears again, children's laughter. Were children playing in the kitchen? Springtrap rose to his feet, adjusting to his new body, and marched towards the sounds. He picked up speed as he moved. Walking turned into running. He rushed into the kitchen and found nothing. No children, no games, no laughter. Just a swirling mass of black fog enveloping the far wall. Springtrap examined the fog. Curiosity tightened his grip on him. As he stared into the darkness, his distended eyes could see shapes emerge within the fog. Who were they? It didn't matter. They were his victims now. Somehow, he knew the hunt could go on forever. All he had to do was step into the fog. So for anyone who doesn't know, the fog is like how the killers end up here in Dead by Daylight. So this is Springtrap's little story, and it seems to carry on directly from what we see with William getting springlocked and then waking up. And I think this is pretty interesting, and this is really cool. We also have a description for one of the Springtrap abilities, which actually confirms that the child possessing Freddy is named Gabriel. This is a pretty cool confirmation. We were pretty certain of this already, but it's nice to have a proper confirmation now. Springtrap also has an ability called Fazbear Frights, which is of course a reference to the building that he was put in where he hunted Mike down, that we play in Five Nights at Freddy's 3, which is pretty cool. Springtrap also comes with 2 animations for killing the survivors. The first being his Mori, in which he stabs the survivor through the chest, puts him into seemingly some sort of springlock suit thing. I don't really know what this is supposed to be, but it reminds me a lot of that Abomination from the movie. Once this animation is complete, Springtrap will hit a jump scare, which is pretty cool. It's not the same sound as in-game, which some people are disappointed by, but I still think it's pretty cool. Springtrap has a similar interaction when killing someone while the axe is in their back. He will spin them around and jump scare them in the face, but not just with the Springtrap mask, but with his real face underneath, which is horrifying. His breath probably stinks. Apparently in this you can hear the in-game scream, but I don't really hear it personally. Here's a listen. Springtrap has another time his face is shown when in the loading screen. There's a lot of Easter eggs here. He recreates this iconic secret screen from Five Nights at Freddy's 3, which I think is really, really cool. Springtrap's default standing position is also a reference, as he hits the exact same pose he does in his main render, being slightly tilted to the side. Springtrap will also do this pose when standing still in-game. It's basically his idle animation. When first spawning Springtrap in, there's a chance for him to do various animations, which are all references to how he acted in FNaF 3. This is a reference to in FNaF 3 when he can walk past a window and then peer around the corner of the office window. It's also a reference to this iconic render of Springtrap from FNaF 3, making 3 references all in one. One of Springtrap's other abilities is captioned, "You can draw him in 10 seconds, being a reference to his description in FNaF World of the same text. Springtrap's chase music is also a sped up version of Freddy's power outage music from the first game. Take a listen. Springtrap's promotional art also depicts balloons being colored in the exact same order that they are found in the Happiest Day minigame, which is a really cool little Easter egg. When passing through the office, you can see a clock that is the exact same clock from FNaF Plus, the cancelled fan game. This map also features 2 FNaF jump scares, one being when you open a locker and you can be jump scared by Mr. Cupcake. Another is when walking into the parts and service room, an endoskeleton can fall from the vent in the ceiling and jump scare you. As well as in the parts and service room, you can also find animatronic heads that will follow you with their eyes around. It's really creepy. You can also find the ball pit in the map, which is likely a reference to Into the Pit, as there is a Freddy head and also various limbs from random people in it. Towards the front of the map, we can see this car, which is definitely a reference to William Afton's car when he was murdering the children. I think this is pretty cool. When Springtrap is done stabbing someone, he performs this little knife clean thing. This is a reference to how he acted in the movie, which is actually a reference in and of itself, being a reference to when Matthew Lillard did this in the Scream movies, being one of his signature moves. That's going to do it for this video, as this is seemingly all the reference we have found so far. When the entire collab releases, we'll have another look at all of these things, including Matthew Lillard's voiceover and just any other Easter eggs we can find. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, comment and subscribe. And if there were any Easter eggs that I missed, make sure to comment them down below. And anything I got wrong, make sure to correct me in the comments. I also want to give a quick shout out to Jackie Lackey on Twitter for some of this information, as well as the YouTube channel D-Strike and No Commentary Horror for all the footage I use. You guys are the best. I have them all linked down below, so go give them a watch, a like, a subscribe and a comment and everything. Anyway guys, have a great day. If you don't subscribe, I'll kill you. Peace out.